Hey everybody, welcome to GeekStorm. I'm Shawn Hilton, the owner of Comics Cube, located in the heart of downtown Kokomo. Today with me on my left is my co-partner Mike Harrison. Job, well, we can't tell you about it. And on my right-hand side, Leonard Pigg from Pig's Pen, which you can catch on the computer dial at radiofreekokomo.com or something.
.org, actually.
.org. It's a school. Shouldn't it be like .edu?
You would think, and it actually, when you go to radiofreekokomo.org, it kicks you over to the IUK site, so you're going to get there.
Lydia is our oncoming guest host, something we're hoping to have some revolving guest hosts and whatnot pimping their product. He is here to talk a little bit about the Pig's Pen later in this episode. So we're going to dive right into it. Let's up front with everybody this week. Spoiler heavy. Everything's going to be spoiled. Every time we have a spoiler, Mike is going to raise his left hand and put it on his head. So that way you will know that a spoiler is about to happen.
That's not going to happen.
Hey, what's first on the notes list today, my good friend? Well, you know what? Did you do anything interesting this week?
I actually spent like most of the week with you and your wife.
So nothing interesting. What do you got? That's good.
Well, I hung out with a friend of mine from the UK the other night. A whole bunch of us went to Texas Roadhouse, and it was funny hearing this British.
When you say UK, do you mean University of Kentucky? Or do you mean United Kingdom?
I mean the United Kingdom.
Okay, just checking.
My friends. Yes.
Tea and biscuits, not
tea and crumpets, not
bluegrass.
No bluegrass, no moonshine. We all ended up going to like the Roadhouse and eating and just having a good time. And it's funny hearing him try to do. Yeah, Danny.
All right.
And he was trying to do a Southern accent, which was just hilarious.
Because Danny's like the most American UK guy I know. He spends so much time here that I've got a couple other Brit friends that are like, you know, they're here very irregularly.
Yeah.
Whereas Danny comes in, I almost forget that, you know, he's European. So, all right, well, that's cool. He's a good guy. He's a lot of fun. If you were in with the cool kids, you would know.
I'm not, and that's okay.
I know.
I have a British friend. Julie, and now that you said accent.
Yeah, hi, Julie.
She is from.
Julie's cute.
Well, she is cute.
She's
from Kentucky. She lives in Kentucky.
That's just.
She's been in the United States for like 20 years, so she still has a very thick British accent. But when people ask her where she's from, they always think Australia or wherever. She always says Kentucky, which is funny because that's not what they mean. But she is from Kentucky. It's funny. It's funny to me anyway.
Well, again, hi, Julie. I like Julie.
Okay.
Julie's good people. And I like
what else?
Danny's good people.
What else?
Yeah.
We went to Hobby Lobby. And
Hobby Town.
We went to Hobby. I went to Hobby Lobby. Oh. We went to Hobby Town, USA.
That's not how it
and then we went to Michael's. And then we didn't go to the Lego store this time. I really am a big fan of the Lego store. We were very busy going to the place. We got some ice cream.
We did.
And then I was late to a Dungeons and Dragons game.
I wish Kokomo would get a Cold Stone.
And then I broke my belt in the middle of. Where was that at?
I don't know.
It was like in the middle of
World Market.
World Market. So I go in, I wash my hands.
I'm gonna tell the story. I'm gonna tell it better. Okay, so I'm standing in the middle of this store, this World Market. Shawn comes walking up. Chris is
kind of waddling at this point.
He's holding his pants up with one hand like this, and I go, I can't say what I said, but I said, "Dude, are you okay?" And he's like, "Yeah, I broke my belt." And he couldn't walk. He said, "I need the keys to the car. I got to go out and sit in the car while you guys shop because my pants won't stand up."
Yeah.
So, I got this thing. It's funny because it's not actually using the restroom. Not that anybody needs to know too much information. But after we go to all these stores, I like to wash my hands.
Sure, who doesn't?
We're touching a lot
there
of.
There are even signs that say wash.
You know, our producer is sick because he touched some weird.
He doesn't.
There you
let's go on record and say Dukes does not wash his hands. But go ahead.
He never washes his hands. Oh. But so I'm not like an OCD hand washer. But after 2 or 3 stores or whatever, I'm like, I'm gonna go wash my hands now. Sure. So as I'm in there, I'm adjusting my belt because I've been walking around all day. I need to, tighten up. I've lost, a half a fraction of a centimeter or something.
That's awesome.
So, it's not that big a deal. When you're this fat, it goes on and off. But regardless, so as I'm in there, the damn thing actually snaps. I mean, like the part that you actually put the belt loop in. So I've got the buckle, and I've got like this ragged piece, and I'm just like, that ain't gonna work.
That ain't gonna work.
So.
That's our belt story. And
that was 4 minutes of belt story.
Yeah,
we might want to actually start talking about
I couldn't see you sagging. I mean, that'd just be so wrong.
Okay, 2 real quick pieces of news before we get into the bigger stuff. David Letterman has announced that he's retiring.
From what?
He is the longest running late night host in history. Longer than Carson, longer than Leno.
So
Wow.
now, in the others,
33 years.
it's been a very big deal because the Tonight Show has a very long history.
Correct.
And everybody remembers Johnny, but there was people before Johnny.
Absolutely.
And since him, of course, we've had, some very well-known talents and whatnot. But Letterman is the Letterman Show. It's not the Tonight Show.
Right.
So, do they just replace him with another late-night show?
I think
Obviously,
I'm
I don't
sure
think we're
they
going to
will.
use that name.
Those are big money for the networks, so I'm sure that they will have somebody lined up to go into those slots. Who does the show after him?
Isn't Craig
Craig Ferguson.
Craig Ferguson? Yeah.
He might slide up. Yeah, he's very popular. He might slide right up. But he did. Letterman started out on NBC and doing the Late Show, and then he does. It was Late Night with David Letterman, and now it's the Late Show on CBS. So all in told, 33 years. I've tried to get in to see Letterman a couple times, like when I was in New York, and I got on the standby list and stood outside and got in line and everything, and I was like within 3 people of getting in both times.
I'm sorry to hear that. When's he retired?
15.
The Kokomo Con this year for our charity auction has 2 tickets to the Letterman Show as part of our.
That's awesome. I'm going to bid on them. I'm going to bid up.
Wow.
We got that, and we just got in, I think, 3 autographed pictures of
James Earl Jones.
Jones.
I saw that.
So
That's
we
really
got some
cool.
cool stuff coming
Oh,
in.
man.
A
That's
Tim
really
Allen
cool.
signed script.
Yeah.
And a Jim Davis signed piece. So a lot of cool stuff. But speaking of Letterman, yeah. So and then so farewell to the king of.
I think he's great. He was in his prime or starting when I started watching late night TV, and he was geared towards my generation, my age group. The young college age kids, and
he's definitely affected the current crop of late night show guys more than Carson ever did. When you look at Fallon and you look at
the current crop, yes, absolutely.
Myers,
these younger
Seth
guys,
Meyers,
I
yeah.
think they definitely went the Letterman kind of was an irreverent humor.
There aren't
as
a lot of
opposed
working-
to
there aren't a lot of
skits
working
and stuff.
stand-up
Fallon does
comedians.
skits all the time.
Well, there aren't a lot of working stand-up that are still in stand-up though.
Gotcha.
That were on Carson. They maybe did Leno, or definitely did Letterman. So regardless, he's gonna wrap it up. So it'll be sad to see him go, and that makes me kind of want to watch him over the next season.
See what he comes up with.
I don't
Maybe
see
they'll
him.
pull Conan O'Brien.
Maybe. I think Conan's fun. A lot of people don't like Conan. I think Conan's fun.
He is.
It's so popular.
Jimmy
Guy-
Kimmel's very
Jimmy
popular.
Kimmel, I think.
Yeah.
is-
He's got Disney money behind him. Okay.
Oh, does he?
They can
Is he on
throw-
ABC or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the guy I think is definitely the next in for the Letterman crown. I would say for that feel, it's probably Jimmy.
Okay,
All right.
The next real small, real
What
quick
else
thing is, and this isn't, not a lot of people know about this particular thing, but Quentin Tarantino doesn't do a lot of movies. He does his movie, his way, writes it, directs it, does the whole thing. So that being done, he's only done 5 or 6 movies, I'm guessing. His next one was supposed to be called The Hateful Eight, which was a Western. Okay.
Okay.
Kind of his Dirty Dozen type of thing. And
After Django's popularity, I could see where another Western
yeah.
would be good.
So he, what happened was the script was leaked, and he went crazy about it.
Okay.
Because he said, I gave this script to 6 people. Somebody
Out of
threw
the
this,
6.
and it hit the internet and went out there, and he was really upset. He canned the entire movie.
Wow.
He said, I'm not going to do this movie. So that happened in January. I guess they just announced a couple days ago that he's going to do a live stage with actors reading of the script, just to have it out there, and so people who have read it on the internet can get an idea of what he's going to do. But he's not going to film the movie at any point. But I think kind of a script reading with a live cast.
Cool.
Everything, that'd
That's
be
a
kinda
Fathom event waiting to happen.
It'd be nice if they did that. Yeah.
So
It's like $200 a ticket.
very cool. Oh wow.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of cool.
All right, so yeah, sell your $200 ticket, but then I'd Fathom event that shit like the next week. But that's just me. Fathom
It'll be on
is-
YouTube within like 2 weeks,
I
so
hope
don't
so.
even sweat it.
I
Like,
hope so.
I don't know after this leak thing. I mean, I could see him wanding people as they come in. Phones are being collected,
Oh, yeah,
baggied
yeah.
up.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
well,
You know?
did you hear that move the Wu-Tang Clan's doing with their latest album? They only made 1 copy.
One copy of the movie.
One single copy of their album, and it's in like this metallic case with the Wu logo on it, and they're selling it for like a few $1 million. Like they're gonna take bids on it.
That's crazy.
Because the whole idea is,
That's a great
like RZA, the mastermind behind the Wu, decided that if, he said music is art. People go to museums to appreciate art, so they want to see if there's gonna be one collector that's gonna buy this, and if so, if he's gonna pay top dollar. And another thing they also want to do is take that same album and have listening parties at random places.
That's cool.
But they're not going to allow the electronic devices so
Right,
people
yeah,
can't
so
record
nobody-
it,
yeah.
and
Well,
you
gotta be
get to
there
experience it.
you gotta be
Yeah,
there. Wow, that's kind of neat.
and I think that's such a unique way of
It's good
kinda-
marketing, if anything.
Absolutely, nobody else is doing that right
We're
now.
talking about.
That's like something Michael Jackson would have done. you know, if he'd been around, maybe.
Marvin Gaye? No, maybe not.
Speaking of Marvin Gaye, let's get into.
Something like that?
Yeah, it was nice. Nice segue. But when you have to talk about that, the fact
Oh,
that
it was
it's a
good.
segue, it's not a great
No,
segue.
it was a good segue. It was good.
Hey, we saw Captain America, Winter Soldier last night. I think all three of us saw. We saw it different places.
We saw it like 3 times.
Yeah.
3 times we saw
We
it.
had a unique experience. We went down. Sean and I went down to the kind of marathon. I don't know 2 movies as a marathon, but we went down
Double feature?
to the Castleton movie theater and saw it there, where they showed Captain America: First Avenger, followed by in 3D, followed by Captain America: Winter Soldier
In 1D.
in 3D.
And then in 3D.
Yeah, the first movie started out, and I think they had to restart it after maybe a minute or two.
Yeah, about 3 or 4 minutes.
Yeah, because I don't know, it was an audio sync. Oh no, the 3D was shaking back and forth.
Yeah,
so
it was
technical
giving people-
difficulties there, which made the second movie start late. It started late, and then they had to restart it 2 or 3 times also for the same reasons, and it wasn't even in 3D for a while. So we ended up at 8:00 movie. Ended up seeing it. I think it started at 8:30. Yeah, it was
8:30,
late.
8:40.
It was
Well,
late.
by the time they restarted it, because it was messed up.
Right.
Then they restarted it because it wasn't in 3D. And it was a $25 ticket, so it needed
Yeah,
to be 3D.
$25.
Then the
movies in
3D wasn't
Need
lined
those
up
hipster
correctly
glasses,
or
yeah.
something. It was out of whack.
Yeah.
So
You get a poster.
it,
I mean,
it
come
took
on.
a while. I was supposed to wear my lanyard. I forgot. They gave you a cool little shield lanyard.
But the cool part was we got to see the beginning of the movie twice,
Yes,
so that was kind of nice.
it was. You got to see the introduction of Sam Wilson twice.
Yeah, that was great. So.
All right, so spoilers. Let's talk about Captain America. The movie is worth seeing. It's really good. I've seen all over Facebook. A lot of people think it's the best Marvel movie made yet. I don't think it's the best Marvel movie made yet, but I personally believe it's the best Marvel action we've ever seen. The way Captain America, Steve Rogers moves, and the actual grace, and the moves, the fight choreography that's been done in this film is so impressive that I think it's worth noting. But is it worth seeing? Just for those who want to cut out before we get to spoilers, I think it's absolutely worth seeing. I think it's equally, if not better, than the first one. So that's all right. Let's spoil it. Let's go. We all saw it. Let's talk about it.
All right, so starts off, you got Cap going for a jog, and he keeps lapping this guy.
Around, I think they're in the mall in Washington. They're the giant pool that's in front of the Washington Monument.
Right.
That's probably pretty big. I don't know how big. It looks big to me.
It seemed pretty massive. And then, of course, after this run, because he keeps lapping him just repeatedly, and you find out this guy that he's running with is Sam Wilson. So for those who don't know, Sam Wilson, of course, becomes the Falcon, like in the comics. So the two of them have a little conversation, and they're talking about sort of like, because they're both veterans, and Sam works at the VA, kind of invites Steve to come by, and he goes, hey, it'll impress the receptionist. Come on, man, and
Right.
and so they have a very, very cool little casual friendship, and then I think Steve gets summoned off to do a mission.
Right. I think they did a really good job of bringing those two characters together, showing their commonalities without it being heavy-handed. Without it being like, okay, audience, we want you to know these two are going to be friends.
We didn't have to have a flashback of Cap saving the great-grandfather
Right.
of the Falcon in World War II,
Right.
and them having that.
Right,
It's-
yeah.
The commonality comes from the fact that they're both soldiers.
Right.
Even though it was two very different theaters, they have that commonality,
Right.
and it comes together quite well. And the friendship seems very genuine and not forced. Now, it does turn out that Chris Evans has worked with, I think, Anthony Mackie.
Anthony Mackie.
Right, Anthony
On
Mackie.
3 separate occasions.
Right.
He's worked with. He was doing something. We were talking beforehand. If you saw it at AMC,
Right.
they had their AMC reviewer do this little thing. So,
Interview.
but he's worked with him like 3 times. He's worked with
Scarlett Johansson.
like 3 or 4 times. He's worked almost every big actor on this.
Yeah.
He'd worked with multiple times. So they came at it pretty well. And I thought that Anthony Mackie did a really good, solid job. For the most part, the Falcon outfit, it's an exo-military kind of thing. Basically
Right.
like a paratrooper with wings
Right.
that's able to keep going in. It was like pararescue or something. They play him up. They do a really good job with it.
Solid character.
Yeah.
As far as the design, it reminded me of like the Ultimate line of the comics, where he has that he has the militaristic background, whereas I think in the main Marvel U, he was just I don't believe he was military, but I think he got stuck on some island with Cap, and he ends up training him, and that's how he sort of ends up becoming his partner.
Right.
Cap trained everybody.
Yeah, I wish
Trained me and you.
Yeah.
So
I know how to roll with it.
Captain America touch on a roll with it. And then you got Black Widow as a much bigger force in this. In fact, it's called Captain America Winter Soldier, but this really
It's almost
is
a buddy cop movie.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
done in a big budget way.
Right.
S.H.I.E.L.D. is the whole background.
Right.
The top, the bottom, the middle. This is a S.H.I.E.L.D. movie. This is about S.H.I.E.L.D.
Right.
Everything revolves around S.H.I.E.L.D. And the fact is that Cap is going into S.H.I.E.L.D. with his little special team of A-Team. You know, they were convicted of a crime they didn't commit back in 1972.
If you need them, and you can find them.
But that's what it comes across is Cap's set up. They go rogue. They
Right.
got to bring down the machine and all this stuff. Nick Fury is set up. You get more Nick Fury than you've ever had before, which was really well done. And if you watch the film at the end, you're going to see a tombstone, and it's the best Marvel Easter egg ever.
I don't know about that, but it's funny.
Ever. So you got to read the tombstone.
Look at the tombstone at the end. Look at the Bible verse and see what it is, and you'll probably laugh.
Laugh out loud.
Yeah, it was
so good.
I really like the relationships between Falcon and Cap and
Widow.
Black Widow. It really felt like they did their best to show those intimate beats between all three of them in the scope of this giant action movie. I felt like I wasn't watching two different movies that were slammed together. Everything really weaved together really well, and I want to see it again today. It's really good movie.
It's funny because each movie's a little different. With Thor, you're getting kind of this over-the-top mythology. You're getting the gods. You're getting snow giants and whatever, and all this stuff. When we go to the Iron Man, we are getting that snarky, arrogant, sarcastic technology kind of thing, and it's an action movie. Well, this is more of a suspense drama, bringing down the man kind of thing. It's a very different feel of all the other Marvel movies, and from the Cap, and it's all the others seem to go together. Iron Man 1, 2, and 3 continues a trend, and Thor 1 and 2 continues a trend. But Cap, we go from World War II, a actual bad guy, good guys versus Nazis / Hydra, to 70 years later. Right. So it's the only one that feels like maybe there's a disconnect, but that's because with Cap, he's disconnected.
He's an anachronism, more or less. Yeah.
And I think they played that up really well, but the actual story just felt to me like there was so much more depth.
Yeah.
There was many more levels to what's going on.
Like I wasn't positive.
I
wasn't positive Robert Redford was the bad guy until halfway, until they wanted me to know.
Right.
And I like that. I hate when you predict everything that's going to go on in a movie. You and I do that a lot, especially where we're like, oh, that guy's the bad guy. That guy.
They got me once in a scene where they got us twice.
Yes.
There was 2 times where me and Mike both were like, we think that's his character, and nope, it's not that character.
Yeah. In the van where what's her name? Colby Smulders.
Victoria Hill.
Agent Hill. No, Hand Hill.
Hill. Yeah.
Hill.
Not Victoria though. It's
She's the chick from
Maria Hill.
Maria Hill.
It's Maria Hill.
Yeah, when she
chick from
busted up, we
Yeah.
thought when she's still in mask and taking care of that guy, I thought Agent 13. I think he said later he thought it was Agent 13 also.
Yeah.
But it ended up being her. I thought she was done for the movie. And then the same thing happened at the end when
Black Widow reveals herself in a Mission Impossible.
we thought that was Agent 13.
See, I think when to have somebody like Robert Redford as like this major character in it, you always expect Robert Redford to be a good guy, to be sort of like the benevolent type, because he always brings such gravitas to a role. I mean, he can walk in and he could stutter and stammer and still looks, just does an amazing performance. And so to see him kind of turn up as a villain, it was just like, oh, really?
That was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a nice twist.
He did a great job, and he doesn't do a lot of acting anymore, and so it was really great to see him do something like that. Probably hasn't done a lot of action, period, since, I don't know, Butch and Sundance, maybe. I don't know.
We didn't do much action.
It's been a long time.
He was definitely suit guy.
Well, but he
he was the
got hit a
purveyor
little
of
bit.
action.
Yeah, I know that was a stunt guy. I realize that, but
it was good. It was well put together. He did, and plus on top of it, with him, and now we've got Ant-Man coming up with Michael Douglas.
right.
And Paul Rudd.
We're seeing some really real actors. Not to say that Robert Downey Jr. and all these other guys, but these are younger guys or guys that have had track records. I mean, when Robert Downey took that role, we were all excited about it as fans, but everybody else was like, "What the hell's about to happen?" Chris Evans.
Another way of saying what you're saying is a lot of these actors in these movies are making their careers on these movies. Whereas you get a Robert Redford or who you just said, Michael Douglas. Those guys are the icing.
Hall of Famers.
Yeah.
I've done my.
They're old school.
They don't have to do this movie.
No,
they don't want to do it.
They bring, like you said, gravitas to something that is a comic book movie, okay, and is great.
Give it more depth, that's for sure.
Marvel has accomplished something that I think has never been accomplished in Hollywood history. Period. As they have made this giant. What are we on, like 8 movies now, 9 movie history, and they're continuing to go on, and it all fits together.
With amazing cohesion. James Bond movies don't have this kind of
No,
cohesion.
no way, in no way do they.
So, you know, there's very little disconnect other than during this whole thing where it's all going to hell, Steve's on the run. Why is there not just a phone call placed to, Tony Stark?
Right.
That's the kind of thing that we do have to back off a little bit, and it's in the comics too. Otherwise, we just have, the Avengers show up and clean up.
Right.
But, and in the very, very end, there are 2 Easter eggs after the thing. You get the typical Marvel, we've shown you the main actor credit, now we show you a great scene.
Right.
A scene that's not only going to show you the creator of Hydra. I don't know if he is in the Marvel comic book universe.
Right.
Not 100% sure about the Marvel cinematic universe. And you also see 2 characters for the first time, powers going at it, the very end, that are going to be in the Avengers movie. You see Quicksilver and you're going to see Scarlet Witch both. So, and they look pretty cool.
Yeah, they did. They look pretty good.
And at the very, very end, you get your typical, really 30-second maybe Marvel extra clip. This one wasn't so heavy. If you didn't see it at the theater, I don't know that it's that big a deal. You could probably wait for DVD if you don't want to sit through all the credits to see it. But there's no play really with this one. It's not like it's going to be a big payoff that, I saw that. So it was neat. It had some depth and feeling to it. But check the equipment, everybody. Are we up?
Okay, we're good.
Sorry about that.
I did that.
The clairvoyant.
Yeah. Watch the show. And
Yeah.
I'll bring back the sun.
See, early on in the movie, when Cap was with that Special Forces team, I liked how one of the agents was named Rumlow, and I went, Brock Rumlow, Crossbones. I thought, man,
Okay, is that his name? We were talking about that on the way home.
Brock Rumlow.
I couldn't remember Crossbone's name, but
Yeah.
as he's going, he's got the double bandolier.
Mm-hmm.
He ends up getting burned up. So in the car on the way home, I'm like, I am sure that guy is going to be Crossbones.
He has to,
So that's cool that they got
He's
it
a good
all
actor.
right.
Grillo, Frank Grillo, he's been in quite a few things. He's in this new Purge movie that's getting ready to come out. I like him, and that's another thing too. You really saw in this movie how people act around Cap. He's a living legend, and he lives up to the legend. And all these guys are like when they're starting their first mission in the plane, and Cap's like, okay, you do this, 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 and they're like, okay, and they do it.
Well, they're military.
Yeah.
And they're definitely they're getting their orders.
They
and
give him his his props, I guess.
They
because
call him captain, so you get the sense that it's not it's not just a throwaway title. It's supposedly a military title that they believe,
Right.
That rank is real.
Right.
And he's got the right to do what he says he does. So and that's kind of cool. Which leads us into Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because there is a direct connection in the last Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. movie and the Captain America movie. We
Right.
see Agent Stillwell set to go to a ship, and that is a major scene. It's pretty much the first big scene
Yes,
in
it
the
is.
Captain America
It
movie.
is.
So there is, again, just,
cohesion.
boom.
Right.
It's put together in a manner that it's directly connected.
Right.
However, and big spoiler, everybody, for the Captain America movie, so stop now. S.H.I.E.L.D. is brought down. It's
Right.
completely dismantled, destroyed at the end of this.
Correct.
The show on television is called Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.,
Right.
not Marvel's Rogue Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.,
Right.
not Rebuilding.
Right.
And they've had, right after the Cap movie, we had our tie-in to Thor, the Thor movie, we had a tie-in to Thor.
Right.
This has a direct tie-in before the movie came out.
Right.
So that was pretty cool.
Well, there's only a few episodes left of S.H.I.E.L.D. and of this season, rather, and so I imagine that they will take those few episodes to deal with everything that's happened in the Cat movie because it has devastating effects on like you said the entire organization that they're supposedly in. Because I don't know, without the backing, let's talk not real world. Without the backing of the organization, I'm not sure how long that plane stays in the air. You know what I mean?
Right.
You have to have the machine in order to make the little parts move. So.
I think
we'll see how they do.
I think next season we will have them be rogue agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or rogues. They'll have Coulson's got enough safe houses and whatnot set up. You'll find out he's got enough money to fuel that plane and keep it going. Enough sources embedded in different places.
Right.
Plus, how cool is it that you are cut off? Like this is the team now. Whatever you've got,
Right.
with a couple other assets here and there that we can bring in as guest stars. This is it. This is everything. It's not going to get better than this. You
They want
can't.
to continue the mission on their own and
Yeah,
and keep
to
trying to do what
bring
they
it
do.
and fix it and do stuff. So I think that'll be cool. Hey, what else we got?
We can talk about the Walking Dead
Sure, why not?
season finale.
Season finale.
What about it? Did you watch it?
I did. You gotta.
Oh, Lenny's fault.
Oh my God.
170 days.
Wait, no,
until...
now, is that sarcasm? You didn't like the season finale of Walking Dead?
I felt like this season, I mean, I know they broke it up into 2 parts anyway, so it was already kind of like, it was kind of jarring, and I've noticed series are starting to do that now. I think Doctor Who actually did that. They did it a couple times where they had season, like part 1 of one season, part 2 of the same season. And I don't know if it's just a production issue or whatever, but it doesn't seem to have that oomph like it did before.
Well, earlier, I don't say even as soon as 5 or 6 years ago, every series went 20 some episodes, and everybody took a break, let's say from Thanksgiving to maybe New Year's, maybe, but not as long as we have the breaks now. Now they're like, we're in the
hiatus.
Yeah, it is almost like a 2-season season because they made so many episodes because they didn't have the summer replacement series that we have now too. So as soon as May rolls around and things start wrapping up on network TV, and then another series is ready to take over that time slot. It didn't used to be that way.
It used to be you took summer off. I mean, you really did.
It was reruns all summer.
Yeah, there was
Yeah.
nothing new to see at all.
And of course, the mid-seasons, like they're doing mid-season cliffhangers now,
Yeah.
which almost feels like a season finale.
It absolutely is, and that's why they treat it. And I'm glad you brought that up because I'm so glad they did not treat this season finale like the mid-season finale and like had a bunch of deaths or cataclysmic things. I mean, we had some things tied up, and we had some more questions answered or asked even, but at least this time anyway, they didn't feel the need to, well, we need to make this a big episode, so we need to kill some people, and sorry, because I like most of these characters. There aren't many of them that I could say that are just throwaways anymore.
Leading back into the original statement, though, I think it's just come down to, this is what, season 5? Season 4, season 5, season 4.
Yeah.
We know the characters.
Right.
There's not as many surprises that are going to be pulled on you now.
Right.
Just because we know the characters so well, we know their backgrounds. And plus, I mean, how do you keep topping the stuff that, they've already done? I mean, Carol, look at the flowers. I don't know. That's going to be meme to death.
Well,
I mean,
it's like a mice and man,
Scene. That's a big to do. Now, the truth is, I think that final scene is a little bit of a letdown. If the biggest thing you got is Rick saying, "Oh, they don't know who they've screwed with," you're trapped in a coal car, dude. All it takes is a guy with some gasoline and a match, and you're done. So you got yourself trapped. The thing that got me was
Don't confuse reality with my television. Okay?
there is nothing said about Beth whatsoever. She gets stuck in a car, she disappears, and then that's it.
No, Daryl tells Rick what happened to Beth.
She got stuck in a car,
Right.
and that's it.
Right.
We have no clue.
That's right.
I mean, nothing.
You can't have everything answered. You can't have everything laid out for you on
You
a
couldn't have
plate.
had just a black scene with a little reflection of her like knocking on the inside of the car.
She was in the episode. Maybe not current Beth, but she was in the episode several times and it was back to the old baby carrying Beth.
So was Herschel.
But
Yeah.
it was
I
she
did.
was in it.
I kept expecting that scene to go bad too, like Nightmare or American Werewolf in London kind of nightmare scene or something where it was going to build, and then I felt that whole scene was just unnecessary and repetitive.
I liked it.
Other than what's his face got a paycheck.
Scott Wilson.
Scott Wilson, Herschel
Yeah.
got another paycheck, which good for him. But overall,
I think he's doing okay.
we didn't need that. Did you feel like you needed to
No.
see that whole? Why did Rick become a farmer?
The
We're going to tell you in
flashbacks
the
were-
season finale of The Walking Dead, which had nothing to do with
I,
anything.
I think
These are new voices. I've asked you
it almost
something
seems
about new voices.
it almost seems understood that there's a certain mindset that comes with gardening. You don't have like angry, pissed off gardeners. It's like you do that as like a zen time, something to sort of mellow out. So it made sense for Rick to do that instead of be running around just shooting targets and we gotta get ready to do some more killing. Like no, he just wanted to get away from that. So even if they didn't reference that in the flashback, it was just, to me it just felt like, oh, they must have watched Arrow a few months before and said, hey, they do flashbacks every episode.
Okay, let me
Let's
tell you
try
what-
that.
Let me tell you what you missed then. Apparently you missed this.
Sure.
Both of you.
Please educate us, Mike.
That's not the first time. The second half of this entire season, we've seen a beaten up, broken Rick.
Yep.
Okay?
Okay.
So in order to show you he's back and be excited about that, they wanted to show you where he came from, why he went down that tranquil,
So we needed
which
this
is really hard
boring,
to say, road.
unnecessary flashback
wasn't boring.
scene. Yeah, it was. It was him learning to farm.
Drama isn't
Mr.
boring.
Miyagi teaching young Danielson to wax on and wax off had more excitement. We'd already done this.
Yeah, because for a half minute there you think Miyagi's a perv.
Sure.
They're showing. No, okay,
Superfluous
I don't
to
agree.
the series.
I don't agree.
Wasn't
Well, it was a weak
necessary.
season. It really was.
Oh,
Second half.
I disagree. I think the second half of the season was amazing. I thought we saw the best character development we've ever seen, and I think we saw Carl Riggs get screwed.
you mean Chandler Riggs or Carl?
Carl Riggs?
No, Chandler Riggs or Carl.
If I want
Can't be
to,
both.
meld my
Carl!
fantasy and my reality together, I will.
Cracks me
But
up when he does that.
regardless, or I'm sorry, as you like to say.
I don't say
as
that.
you like to hear, irregardless,
I
which
hate-
isn't a word.
It is a word. It's just not the correct word. But go
All
on.
right, so
Put it in Urban Dictionary.
regardless,
Exactly right. That's what makes it a word.
every time this character could have got screwed, that's the thing from the scene. He gets screwed. Every good scene is stolen from this young actor. Carol gets the big scene where she gets to kill off a young kid. Ooh, Carol's a badass. Sorry, Carol already burned people to death. We knew this. Michonne, she's a badass. We already know this. Rick, he's a badass. He eats somebody's throat out. We already know this. Oh, Daryl, he might be a badass. Yes, he's a badass. Here's your chance to finally show that this kid, who we think might be psychopathic.
Wow.
That's how far
You're
we're
off the
going.
rails.
We're,
I'm telling you
it's
right
30
now.
minutes and 25 seconds. We're already over our time, so it's going to be the extended long version. Regardless of all of that, we've had all these opportunities to show all this character growth for every character except for the one character that needs it more than anybody else. And the entire flashback is about him not becoming some psychotic, broke-down little kid. Yet every time we want to do something with him, it's Michonne. Hey, have you read a new comic book? Look what I got you. I got you a new comic book. So now he's a child. Oh, wait, now Herschel thinks he's a psychotic madman that's killing everybody. So now we have to bring him down. I'm sorry, Mr. Riggs, talk to your agent. Get some stuff going. Otherwise, you're going to be the Wesley Crusher and have to wait another 20 years until you're popular again. I like him, and I don't want this to be like this thing where I don't like that actor. I think he's doing a fairly good job. I thought they were doing a good job with Beth until they shoved her in a trunk and then made her disappear.
I think they're all solid actors, honestly. I just feel like the pacing has just been kind of stagnant. Like, I know you said it feels like a stronger season because it's a lot more characterization, but to me it just feels like, I don't know, there are just some moments where it's like they could have chopped a couple minutes here and there and added something else, or taken the dramatic moments that were good and maybe made them a little bit bigger and reduced some of the just kind of, ambling around, walking through the woods, walking down the tracks.
Well, I definitely agree that they
It was like
extend
Stand By
things-
Me with guns and zombies.
Would have been good. I definitely agree. They extend things out to get to a point. The ending of this season was going to be Terminus, and we were going to have to sit through whatever to get to that. That finale was what they were going to go with, because they did the same thing with Sophia and that damn barn, which doesn't make any sense. Regardless of how you want to time frame this up, no sense was made
you're
ever
insane.
with Sophia and the stupid barn. Didn't make any sense. But first of all, that you were going to go from episode 1, where she disappears at the end, all the way to that halfway season finale, to have her come out. That was how it was going to go, and we were going to have to go through all the episodes and connect the dots until we got there, which is what I feel exactly was this. We were going to end on Terminus. That's what they decided. That's what the showrunner wanted. So to get there, we were going to have to just go through all the tracks to get there. And as you said, it was a little lame maybe seeing them walk down, the literal tracks to get there. But the character development that came out of it, regardless of my thing with Carl's character, I liked seeing a lot of that development. The development, especially between Carol and Tyrese, felt really, really good. The bringing in of the new characters who looked like they're straight out of the comic. They looked great. Plus the one guy I think was Moose from Band of Brothers, so I like him a lot too. Did you have something to say, seeing we're so far over?
Did you?
No?
I don't know, as far as the comics go, I haven't read them in a while. Because it was such a deviation, like the series. I just thought, I don't want to know what's going to happen.
Well, you're not going to. It's very different now.
Yeah.
Andrea's still alive, hooking up with Rick.
And then I think wasn't Daryl, like, he was a made-for-TV character?
Yeah, he's never been around.
So I think the story was like Norman Reedus auditioned for the part of Merle, and they didn't give it to him. They went Michael Rooker, but they thought he gave such a strong audition. They're like, well, let's write in a little brother, and that's where the character came about. So
some of the best characters come from happy little accidents. The guy from Lost, is it Jack? You watched Lost. Did you watch Lost?
I did watch Lost.
Who's the main character? Is it not Jack?
His name is Jack. Yeah.
Yeah, he was that same deal where he was supposed to die in the very first episode and never be seen again. And instead, he becomes like the series star. So it was good stuff. I disagree with you. I thought it was a strong episode. That was a good season. What, you want us to wrap it up? Why? Oh, you got to actually go tape something else somewhere else, don't you?
No, they need to watch. They need to show.
You just
auctions.
cut off the first like 6 minutes where we talked about stupid crap.
They need to show auctions from New Hampshire.
Get a power nap in or something.
All right, well, I guess that's it. Producers telling me we got to stop talking about it, even though we've got more stuff to go. We used to have this thing for like an hour. Remember when these were so cool? All right, well, I'm Shawn Hilton. We're down here in the heart of downtown in Pepper Whistle, Kokomo. This is Mike Harrison, who doesn't know much about anything, and our co-host for the day, Mr. Leonard Pigg from Pig's Pen, which you can find on radiofreekokomo.org.
Saturdays at 4 p.m. Check me out.
Thank you very much. We're GeekStorm. Be groovy.